Being here in this space is like all the things I love around me. I started as a metal sculptor, so I have my own little metal shop in the back here. I can make metal pieces. I combine them with recycled glass. Also, the metal is often recycled. Doing the things I love with my hands every day is such a blessing. The studio is located in Mount Rainier, which is a sort of a newly formed artist community. Well, newly, past 15 years or so. So we are basing the design on the same lamp that is in balance. Yeah. Yes, there we go. So they sent me a picture. We wanted to do a little bit more of a modern take on it. It is a very traditional lamp. Two ways of doing it is basically start with a plasticine base and adding the shells. You guys know about the whole design, right? Or not? No? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, so this is like fossilized shells from the Chesapeake Bay. And so we were actually able to find some and take actual molds off of the actual shells. And so we came up like with various ideas of how to go about this. And initially, the idea was to keep on coming back to that like very traditional shape, and I was, you know, still pushing for something a little bit more modern. The new building is quite modern, right? Especially on the outside, and so I thought it would be a good fit. That's what we got approved for. So a more straighter cylinder shape with the shells.
I like the straight edge, against like the more natural shape of the clown.
Having it not kind of covered entirely, but being kind of an accent splash.
And it does look like that each of them will be slightly different from the next, because we have to make individual waxes for each one. So they're not going to be identical.
No,
they're not factory made. We make them by hand, and so they will, you know, there'll be slight variations between them. My approach is to use plasticine pressed into these molds to cast the shape and then apply it to the base of the cylinder. Arden's approach was to use wax shapes and attach those to the plasticine. And so we were doing a little battle.
Which I think I'm winning.
So we found that the wax is difficult to bend around the curve once it's done. So we're now, when we're taking the wax molds, we're already curving it, so it's pre-curved and attaches much better to the cylinder. So this is the shade that they picked. It is very reminiscent of the original one. I had the hardest time finding somebody locally that would like hand make these shades, right? And so it was like impossible. So I asked them for help, and this is what they figured. Remember the bottles I was showing you before, the whiskey bottles? If you mix those with a tequila bottle, right? It looks all clear, whatnot, but you can see, this is what happens after those two pieces of molten and then solidify again. There's stress in there, and that stress will eventually break the glass. Over a week's time, this has grown, and eventually it'll break the glass. So you have to be very careful with what glasses you put together. And when you're using recycled bottles, you pretty much have no idea. You have no factory backing that tells you, okay, you can do this, right? So I have to experiment with each and every piece I use. Now, if I get a big batch of all similar glass, like I got from the whiskey bottles, then, you know, that's a great advantage, because now I know all these bottles come from the same place. This I tried in the copper oxides, and they will make a color. But then it was decided that no color, as clear as possible. So the sources that I got currently, you're looking at more of those bottles. There you go. You recognize them by now. We have a ton of these old Avon bottles that they're cute, but we don't really know what to do with them otherwise. They'll be smashed and molten into the molds.
I am getting sharper detail from the shells, and I'm able to get them kind of cast in kind of the pre-curved shape that I need to really fit flushly against the cylinder. What I did was I took this roof flashing, I guess used to make gutters or whatever. Usually.
Or seal certain parts of the roof.
It's just a thin metal. Wrapped it around the cylinder, got the size I needed, and then to not do damage to the plasticine, took it off that. Wrapping them that way rather than rubber bands was the easiest way to get them on and off, although I found I needed rubber bands on some of them to make sure that they really kind of stayed flush, But this one's ready to come off, the removal. And
the birth.
Often they'll stay I spray release on the metal because otherwise the wax would just glue on. But sometimes they'll stay put, and I can then use an X-Acto knife to kind of cut off the excesses. But this one, you can see, and this will, you know, can pull these bits off pretty easily. But if I want to be more exact, I can use the X-Acto blade. And then this would just fit right on.